Welcome to the Kourting Happiness podcast. This is a space where self-care becomes part of your day. A space where you learn evidence-based strategies to help your life, share it with those you love, and cultivate well-being at work. I'm your host, Dr. Kortni Alston. I'm a former news director, television reporter turned happiness scholar, TEDx speaker, and transformational trainer. I also understand hardships. While working my dream job in television, I lived a nightmare suddenly becoming a young widow after 86 days of marriage. I became committed to learning more about resilience, healing, and happiness. This is how I discovered my area of research, which is positive psychology. Now I'm living my calling of training individuals and organizations on happiness. And my new chapter begins with being happily engaged. The Kourting and Kourting Happiness is about a true courtship. I like to say commitment with happiness. The K in Kourting stands for the vulnerability of sharing my story, inspirational interviews with phenomenal people, the infusion of positive psychology, and so much more. You'll learn how to commit to your well-being one episode at a time. I hope you subscribe and share. So, are you ready? Let's get started.
So you probably noticed that I'm not Dr. Kortni Alston. She can't make it here today. I'm filling in. I'm Ken Lemon. I'm her fiancé, the guy who was happy that she said yes, and also happy that she said yes to the idea of me coming in and speaking with you today. Now, Dr. Alston had surgery yesterday. I know a lot of people would love the details, but that's her story to share. I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to share a little bit about what I learned from her during this process. And let me tell you, this was challenging physically, emotionally, mentally. This was draining, and it was difficult for us. But through this process, this woman who for years have taught me so much about positive psychology and happiness taught me a lot. And that's just in watching her do what she does on a regular basis. So Dr. Alston makes friends everywhere and has friends all over the place. And she's a person, we talk about practice what you preach, and she did that. She talks about a health care squad, a group of individuals who can help you manage your mental health and manage your way to happiness. And what she did before this surgery, it's a surgery that we anticipated for years, we knew this was coming, is she went in and she developed a Facebook Messenger, right, chat area for those people on her squad. And the amazing thing about this is that there were people from all walks of life, from all over the place, people she met, people she befriended, people that she knew she can trust to help her through this process. Then she turned to me and she did something that was really strange to me. She said, I'm adding you to this group, the only male in this group. And my job was to make sure that those individuals were updated so they knew exactly what was going on through the process. They could keep up with her. So I jumped into this Facebook group, a little daunted. My thought was I'm just going to message a couple of things here and there. And the first thing I noticed was this overwhelming support. The messages were strong. They were vibrant. They were the kind of things you want to hear when you go into a situation like this. Again, we planned for this. We knew this was coming. But anytime you have a situation where you're used to controlling circumstances and outcomes, and suddenly you're being told, I'm going to incapacitate you. And while you're incapacitated, I'm going to go inside of you and I'm going to do work. That's a little bit frightening. And what I got to see before this surgery is the human side of someone that I call my superwoman. I got to see her concerned, justifiably so, worried about the outcome of this, what's going to happen, how this is all going to play out. And I could see in that group those messages of support. And I could see each and every person jump in and say something positive designed to help her get through that. So I immediately jumped on myself and I noted to them and I said, look, your support, your words, your comfort that you're giving her, not only are they making a difference for her, but they're making a difference for this household. They're making a difference for myself and my son who knew this is coming. They make a difference because they let us know that there's somebody there, not only watching, not only attentive, but somebody cheering her on through this process. Somebody who was there to give a pat on the back, to say, I'm there with you. And that matters. I can tell you it matters because as a guy, I don't have a squad. I have maybe a couple of people who I can trust in situations like this. And I'll go to them. And sometimes, as life has it, they're busy. And when I can't reach them, then I just go back to myself and I say, well, you know what? I do what all guys do. You can fix it yourself. Don't worry about that. It's your responsibility. Ultimately, it's on you. You can fix it yourself. And I liken that as a soda pop, a bottle of soda. And thinking about trying to hold that steady as you go through a bumpy situation in life. And what happens is over time, you hit one bump and that soda bottle, it shakes. And you hit another, it shakes. And another, it shakes until you get to the point where you start to open it and it's fizz and there's stuff going everywhere and there's juice flying and you've got a mess because what's happened is you didn't maintain what you had well enough to keep it steady when you needed it most. And when you open it up, it went everywhere. Well, these messages from these individuals were like extra hands on that bottle on a bumpy journey. They made sure that there wasn't shakes. They made sure that there weren't things out of place. They made sure that there was literally a support structure to keep everything steady throughout that process. And I thought to myself, man, I got to change what I'm doing. I need to find a group of people. And I know that if Dr. Alston were here with you now, she would tell you that you should find a group of individuals, not only just the people who are around or what have you, but people who you know can hear your voice, people who you know will champion you, and people you feel comfortable in turn also champion. I'm not going to give you hard instructions because she does a lot of things that are science based, and that's not my area. As they say, I play a doctor. I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. Well, I don't play one on TV. I'm on TV, but I'm not going to pretend to tell you that I know the science behind this. All I know is that I saw it work, and I saw it in this situation. And I saw her actually pick up the phone before she went into surgery, before they wheeled her back, before they began to put in the happy gas, as they say, the happy meds that would force her to go to sleep. I saw her actually sit down and go through those messages and read them and look at what people posted, and she didn't respond. But I know it made a difference because before she went into that, she was herself. She was talking, she was laughing, she was actually talking to somebody about positive psychology. And I joked to one of the people in the group, I was like, this woman is a podcast everywhere she goes. It made a difference. And I thought, that's what I need. That's what I need because no matter what comes in life, you think you can handle it yourself, but everything is stronger with more hands behind it, more support to it. I learned a lot just watching her go through this. And I want to let you know that she is home. She's in good spirits. We spent a little time out traveling, and she spent a little time walking, just a little, because she's still in recovery, and it's a long recovery process. And she's a little weak, but in spirit, she's strong. And she's still herself, and she's still joking. But the one thing I noticed throughout the day as we went across that process is I could go back in, or I could see every now and again some of the flashes, people adding more thoughts into that group. And then some people reaching out to me saying, what's your address? And I knew they were asking that so they can not only say that they support, but send something to physically show, I'm behind you. And that's meaningful, and that's strong, and that's powerful. So too is her journey through this process. And that's a story she's going to share. She told me she's going to share with you guys. It's a powerful story, and she's a great storyteller. So I know just walking you through this is going to be a learning moment for you, just as seeing her go through this was a learning moment for me. And I can't wait until she shares the story of what she's been through and hopefully shares how she's grown through this. And I can tell you right now, there's no way that this amazing woman has grown more than I have through this process, because once again, the professor found another student to teach. So what I hope I've done is I hope that I've not wasted this week for you, that I've given you something to think of that comes directly from the source, Dr. Alston, something that's relevant, something that she continues to teach me as we go and as we grow, and something that I know she would tell you that she hopes that you can use the next time you're in a situation, and a group that can help make sure that when you go through that bumpy road with something in your hand, that everything's going to be fine, that you'll have the support, and when time comes, you'll be able to calmly see your way through it without having a mess all over the place. Thank you for giving me your ear this week. Thank you for allowing me to share just a little bit. I know it's not as long as Dr. Alston may normally take in sharing, and it's not as much and it's not as deep. But we all trust that next week she's going to be right back with you, teaching, sharing, and helping us all grow and learn together. Have a good week, and I'll see you next week.
Let's continue this conversation online. Email us at podcast@drkortnialston.com. That's podcast@drkortnialston.com. Join us on Instagram at Kourting Happiness. Don't forget, that's courting with a K. Also, I hope you join our private Facebook community. You can find us at Kourting Happiness Podcast Community. Our private Facebook group is a safe haven to share, meet more people looking to build positive relationships, focus on well-being, and create a happier life. Now, are you ready to spread happiness? We hope you subscribe and share this podcast with your family, friends, coworkers, and all the important people in your world. We release a new episode every Thursday. Congratulations on your continued commitment to your courting happiness journey. Thank you so much for listening. We want you to be well, be happier, and be kinder to yourself. We can't wait to see you next week.